Hi everyone, I am Debbie Doherty and I am doing a video for acrylicpouring.com, also to share on my YouTube channel. Today I want to show how I try to capture some of my paint drippings from my Kaleidoscope technique and create a smaller painting at the same time that I'm making the main painting. The colors I'm going to be using today are Artist Loft Metallic Cobalt, Naples Yellow, Basics Dioxazine Purple, Duplex Metallic Magenta, Basics again Prism Violet and Deep Violet. I have Basics Gold. Then I have an Artist Loft Metallic White and a Basics Medium Magenta. I also have Iridescent Medium that I will be adding to the non-metallic colors. So my canvas today is a 9x12 gallery wrap canvas, and on the side here you can see a smaller canvas which is a 5x7 gallery wrapped canvas. I set my big canvas on 4 plastic cups, and my smaller canvas I have set on some of these little condiment cups that I use to keep leftover paint. They're just like little 2-ounce, 1-ounce size condiment cups. Here is my workspace clean. This doesn't happen very often, so I'm kind of enjoying being able to see a clean workspace. Next I'm going to mix up my paints, and I will be using 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol and a little bit of water just to get to thin the consistency down to somewhat like warm honey. I will also add the iridescent medium in about a 5 parts paint to 1 part medium ratio. I think I've covered all the basics here, so I'm going to mix up my paint and then I will be back to show you the technique. Okay, I've got my paint cups mixed up here. I have my colors. This is the Deep Violet, Dioxazine Purple, Gold, Metallic Magenta, Prism Violet, Metallic Cobalt, Naples Yellow, and there's no iridescent medium in Naples Yellow because I'm using that as my base coat. And then lastly there is this light pink, which is the light magenta mixed with the metallic white. So I did not make a cup of just metallic white. So now I'm going to put my colors together in pour cups, and hopefully I can figure out how to do this so you guys can see what's going on. So 1 cup I'm mixing with the 3 different purples. I'm done with that one for now. So the next cup I'm going to mix up the 2 lighter purples and the metallic magenta. I'm going to toss in a little bit of this metallic cobalt too. My last cup for pours is going to be this light pink, metallic magenta, and my deep violet. You can see my paint's might be a little thicker than I wanted it, but we'll find out. You can always add a little bit more water. Not in the pour cups, but in what I have left. I don't want it too thin though, or it all runs off my painting. Okay, there's those. I'm going to set these other paints aside for now. Next, I'm going to coat my smaller canvas with the Naples yellow. I'm going to set that aside to start with. I'm not going to put it underneath the big canvas right away because I don't want it to get dumped on if I decide I need to tilt the big canvas before putting on the kaleidoscope elements. I want it to catch the fun drippings that come from the kaleidoscope. So I'm going to set that off to the side. I put its little cups down though, so it's all ready to go when it's time. Then put my large canvas down, and I want to make sure that I check level with my large canvas. Not like this is huge, but the bigger canvas. Just because I would like for my elements to come out the way I poured them when they're dry. Doesn't always work that way, but if you check level, you have a better chance of that happening. Most of this is going to wind up getting pushed off by the other colors when I pour, but there might be little areas that's left, and I like to have a little bit of a smooth surface for my paint to move freely over when I pour the rings. Also gives me an opportunity to cover my edges, so if I don't get color off on the edges all the way around, I still have something there and it's not just bare canvas. Okay, I'm ready to start pouring. So I like these little paper cups for pouring out of because I can pinch the edge and make a nice tight space for the paint to come out of. That's what I want for this particular technique, and you can have a larger space if you want to have more definite rings for just a ring pour. But I do like to have rings, but fine rings when I'm doing these. Okay, so I have mixed up a bunch of gold. I'm actually going to put it in a little squirter bottle because that gives me more accuracy when I'm pouring the puddles in between my ring pours. Give it a little shake. Oh, that came out a little crooked, but it won't matter once I get going here. There we go. You can use your pour cups in any order you want. I like to mix them up a little bit so that I have variation, but I tend to like to go from darkest to lightest and then start over again. Okay. Again, a little bit of gold right in the middle. Not too much because it's going to get pushed aside by the other color, and I don't want so much that it comes back and covers up the colorful rings. Unless you want more gold, and then you can put more on there. I'm interested in having it be an outline color. Got like a little pair of wings in that center. Okay, so then I'm going to start over and pour about, I'll probably pour another 3 sets of rings. So the more paint you pour, the more this is going to spread. And it's going to spread for a while. So as you get towards the center of your design, or towards the conclusion of your design, you won't put as much paint in each of your ring pours. I'm also making my gold dots a little smaller. It's kind of tricky hitting the center of the dot. So that color is really similar to my original pour color. So what I'm going to do to change that up is pour a little bit more metallic magenta in that cup. Okay. So also, I drop a couple little circles over in these corners so I don't have so much to, I don't really want to move these elements around a ton. Just a little bit when it comes time. I don't mind if it goes dripping off the sides, that's the whole point. Tossed a little bit more of my light pink into this next color. Just to make sure I have some variation. I'm starting to run out of my dark color, so I'm going to toss that together some more. Okay, so I'm going to need to tilt this a little bit just because I want some better coverage. Yeah, it looks like I have something over here in my paint, so I'm just going to pick it out with my petrified paintbrush. It's okay, it'll also pour off. There, it's gone. I wouldn't have done it that way if I was trying to finish the project, but I know that that's going to go away when I start tilting. Don't want to lose too much of my designs, but I can always add more. So if I lose more than I want to, it's okay. Oop. All right. Okay. So I'm left with one fairly nice design in the center-ish. Not exactly centered, but this is kind of what I want. So looks like I have a little glob I need to take out of here. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more to these, and since I'm done tilting, I'm going to take my little canvas and stick it underneath the side here. So I want to set it in on top of these little cups. I want to be careful that I don't contact the sides of the cups, holding the big painting. Easier said than done. Okay. I think we're pretty good. And for stability, I'm going to toss in another one of these little cups, just because I don't like it being tippy. I don't want it to tip over when it's supposed to be getting paint on it. Okay, so it's already starting to do its job. In the meantime, I'm just going to start adding a little bit to these elements. Ooh, caught myself. So I want a little gold in there first, but it really wouldn't matter if I didn't have it. In fact, maybe I don't really want it. Yeah, I'm going to try leaving the gold out. Probably don't want to leave it out completely, because that's part of what's going to make my other painting look nice. And I think in order to make sure I'm getting, nope, I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to add any more on that side. A little more of my cobalt in this mixture. With all the pink and purple, I kind of like the little surprise of the cobalt. It just adds a nice difference. I think I'm going to finish up with my dark in the center. So looking at this, I'm kind of happy with where my main painting's design is at this point. Not entirely certain that I have enough paint to drip and make much of a design on my smaller canvas. At least not where I've placed it. But this is likely to do a bit more spreading. It's obviously going to do a bit more spreading. I might do a lot more spreading. I do really like the design that's coming up on this one end. So I think I'm going to let this sit for a little while and just kind of walk away and get some lunch and see where this is in about 30 minutes. So I will be back to check on this and show you what it looks like in about 30 minutes. Okay, so I'm back from my little break, and actually I am really happy with how the small painting is turning out. And before I go any further with the big one, I think what I'm going to do is move the small one because I don't want to wreck the pattern that has developed on that by making changes to the larger painting, which would cause the drippings that are coming off of it to be different. So I'm going to move the small painting and then I will finish up the big one. Okay, I've moved the small painting and I had to make a little minor course correction on the large one because I don't want it to fall off the upper corner. So I put a craft stick on top of my cup just to gently suggest that the paint go the other way. Now I'm just going to finish this up by making my lines in it using my trusty petrified paintbrush. So I'll just start working on that. So I wipe off my paintbrush after each line because I don't want to drag my colors around. I don't want to muddy it by bringing more of the color back in. I'm focusing on this one central element to start with, and then I'll develop the other ones. And so I like to look at each element and think about how many lines each one needs to have. Some can have more petals, others can have less. It just kind of depends on what makes sense when I'm making the lines. And I also like to be able to find ways to join my elements together with the lines, which gives them that kaleidoscope look. Sometimes if I'm trying to draw into an element as I get to the center where the my little lobes are going to be smaller, I'll lift my paintbrush. I don't want to go clear through to the canvas because I don't want to push a lot of that paint around. I want to, otherwise I lose part of the design or I will distort it more than I want to. So that's why when I get to here, I kind of lift the brush so that it just kind of gently takes the line through the top of the paint. And then just kind of gently pull this through here. And that way I keep my design intact better. I'm actually really happy with how that turned out. I might just touch up this here a little bit so that I have more of a center. And I can either do this, kind of make a swirl in the center of the flowers, or I can opt to put a little dot of a color. I think I'm going to go with just a swirl on these. Maybe not. Maybe a dot of gold would be nice. I could try that. Let's do that. Just a tiny little dot of gold. Because that will spread out a little bit. I got some purple in there. So I'll just kind of touch that out. There, that one is done as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and be sure to look on acrylicpouring.com if you want to see a written description of how I did this. And have a nice day.